I mean, some people put color. I'm sorry, I own a home. So it's like, should this be something that's surprising? But her racist statements go even further. She says private property, including the kind of especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy.
By the way, her mom lives in a $1.6 million home in Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe she should give that up because, according to reports, she's white.
Former presidential speechwriter and Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen says if he has his way, Zohran Mamdani will turn America's greatest city into Venezuela.
Remember when they were telling us, don't call us communists, we're democratic socialists. How do you democratically seize private property? It doesn't work that way. So people are you're going to show up and then the voters are just going to say, yes, take my private property, take my home, you can have it, absolutely. It's completely undemocratic. And if you want to know what happens when you seize private property, Mayor Mamdani should just walk a few blocks from City Hall down to the Metropolitan Detention Center and have a sit down with Nicolas Maduro, who's a new visitor to his city, and see what he did to his country. Venezuela, a country that has more oil than Saudi Arabia, is a socialist basket case because they put people like this in charge of their economy. And he's going to do the same thing to New York if he's not careful.
The federal judge has ordered a Massachusetts school district to allow a parent to opt his 5-year-old out of LGBT curriculum.
Sam Whiting of the Massachusetts Liberty Legal says a father spent between 20 and 30 hours going to the school and looking through questionable materials which he wanted to opt his son out of. But the school adamantly refused to comply with him.
We helped him bring a list to the Lexington Public Schools and said he wants his son opted out of these books. And then they turned around and said no to a majority of the books that we identified. They said, well, these don't actually violate his religious beliefs. We think these are just about teaching tolerance.
Whiting then says they sought and received a preliminary injunction from a federal judge, forcing the school to opt the student out.
So as long as parents can clearly identify the category of content that they object to, this decision indicates that the burden is going to be on the schools to identify that content for them, which we think is a big win.
I'm Bob Kellogg.
More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello everyone, Tim Wildmon here. We've got some great tours lined up for 2026. Washington, D.C., George Washington's Mount Vernon, Colonial Williamsburg, historic Jamestown, Boston, Massachusetts, and that greater area. So much to see and do in 2026. If you want information on any of these trips, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we'll see you on one of our tours in 2026.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Okay, I literally just put my headset on. So I made it.
You
Barely.
did. Technically,
you're not huffing and puffing.
This is live radio.
Right.
So if I'm not in my seat by the time it goes live, you guys have to take it, or it's dead air, or we play Perry Como.
So we were actually having this discussion because I think you were getting your coffee or whatever.
Coffee. I got caught by JJ.
You
get caught by JJ in the hall?
Yeah. Because he says this will just take a second.
Cross your legs.
This will just take a second.
Yeah.
So I just so folks, if you're a regular listener of this show and you tune in,
right,
and you're expecting to hear Tim, but you hear me. Okay, that means Tim is in the hallway on his way in for whatever the reason. And
or
so
I'm out of town.
Well,
yeah.
If I continue to talk as the host of the show, that means Tim's out. I usually will say, Ed Vitagliano sitting in for Tim Wildmon today.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, welcome to the program, everybody. It's called Today's Issues on American Family Radio. We're here every Monday through Friday. And Wesley Wildmon. Good morning, Brother Wesley.
Good morning.
Wesley's my Christian brother. He's also my boy. He's my oldest son. Doesn't act like it all the time, but he is my oldest son. And Fred Jackson, our veteran newsman. How you doing, Brother Fred?
I'm doing just fine.
Okay, so we wanted to. What was there any announcement?
What do you got right there?
Yeah, I got something in the mail. Listen, we get letters almost daily. either emails or letters.
Or sometimes handwritten notes.
Handwritten notes, and they're almost always encouraging.
Yeah.
So I brought one yesterday, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just wanted to read to people to know how we are genuinely ministering to people here on American Family Radio.
Amen.
I know that sometimes our news is not always good in terms of world events and what's going on in our country, but I read a letter yesterday from a handwritten note from a lady who was 93.
Oh, wow.
And she had great penmanship. 93 years old. She wrote me.
People who are 93 years old generally are going to have great penmanship.
Yeah.
Nowadays, not so much because everyone uses devices.
Anyway, this was a typed out letter from a gentleman in Virginia. And I won't give his name because I didn't ask him for permission.
Right.
But he said, Dear Mr. Wildmon, I hope you receive this letter and consider my heartfelt appreciation for your ministry and the work of American Family Radio. I discovered AFR in 2020 during the COVID pandemic and believe it was God's guidance that led me to your radio station. As a police officer, I spend most of my time on the road and find comfort in listening to AFR during my daily travels. I have been a daily listener since then and enjoy programs like Today's Issues. I've recently become a partner, that is a financial partner with us. He supports us, and look forward to contributing more to your ministry in the future. He said, I recently joined a Baptist church with my wife and our 3 sons, and they're being raised with Christian values, including our oldest who attends a Christian school. Anyway, he just wanted to say, he says, I pray for American Family Radio will continue to grow, reaching new listeners and bring glory to the Lord by honoring him during these uncertain times. And just some other things that he said here, but it was a police officer in Virginia who found us on the radio during COVID and has been listening ever since. And what he wanted to say was, he also goes on to say here that it impacted, our ministry impacted his life for him to sort of to get back in church and get back to taking his faith seriously.
And obviously the ripple effect to his family.
Amen.
And probably other people he knows. He just joined a church.
Yeah.
Folks, we do ask our listeners to tell your friends and family and fellow church members about American Family Radio. You're our best form of advertisement, and it's something that helps your friends and family as they listen to
know, we can advertise and we can, do our own promotions all day, every day. But you know how when you somebody you trust says,
you really need to read this, or you really need to go listen.
Go
to
this. We go to this restaurant.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You know, people say something like that, and you say, well, you make a mental note. Well, if so and so said it's good food, it is.
Right.
Let's go try it. Something like that. So what I'm saying, to your point, Ed, word of mouth in promoting something. In this case, if you would tell others about American Family Radio, we may be able to impact more lives.
Right.
Amen. All right. So thank you for all those who write checks to us and contribute to AFR, because we couldn't make it without you. And thank you for your prayers. And we thank the Lord God Almighty that we are impacting lives so that we can, impact the kingdom of God on earth. And also, who knows, impact our country, preserve our country, save our country, right?
Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you for listening. All right, Fred, on to the negative news. No, I'm just kidding. Not all news is negative, but we do have to cover things that happen in the world that aren't always pleasant. But there's a big story today, right?
A big story today. You know, in our story meeting a couple of hours ago, I said one of the big stories today was that our military had seized an oil tanker sanctioned by the U.S. I was wrong. We seized 2 oil tankers this morning. Number one, a ship that was known as the Bella One. All right, the Bella One was cruising this morning, heading, we believe, towards Russia. And it's one of these sanctioned vessels. It was just south of Iceland, and our military forces boarded that vessel, oil tanker, as I said, was sanctioned some time ago, back in 2024. It was known then as the Bella 1. What happened in recent days is that the Russians renamed it the Marinera and painted a Russian flag on it. Well, it has been observed for some time. That wasn't going to fool anybody. And so our forces went in and took control of that this morning. Now, since our story meeting this morning, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has revealed that U.S. forces also took control of the tanker Sophia in the Caribbean this morning. Both of these vessels believed to have been involved not only with Venezuela, taking out oil to various countries. According to this Associated Press piece, the ship Bella, back in 2024, was allegedly smuggling cargo for a company linked to the Lebanese terrorist group Hezbollah. All right? So a lot of this coming together. So with regards to the Venezuela story, that story continues to unfold on multiple fronts. But the big news this morning, we've taken control of 2 of these vessels that were associated with Venezuela, both as oil tankers and other cargo, even involving this terrorist group Hezbollah.
Well, the Trump administration don't play. I mean, what we've seen in the last, it's not even, I don't think it's a week. I mean, just the last several days has really been extraordinary. And listen, I was talking to someone here on staff this morning about what is happening, what is clearly happening, and what might be happening behind the scenes. But the Trump administration seems to be absolutely trying to lock down its own hemisphere. And nothing's going to happen here that we don't want to happen. I don't think that what we did in Venezuela was legal in the kind of old way of doing things, just war theory or the way the international order has been conducted. But that is, I think, because circumstances are changing. There's so much uncertainty in the world with, China and Taiwan and Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East, what have you. I think the Trump administration is pivoting to make sure America is protected. And we're going to make sure we have access to oil, which is, I think, the real reason we did what we did in Venezuela. I don't think it was drugs. Most of the drugs, fentanyl, come, China through Mexico. And we're gonna make sure we have access to minerals. And I think that's why Greenland's been mentioned, and it doesn't appear to be tongue-in-cheek anymore. To President Trump's credit, I think he is taking steps to make sure we are protected, we have resources coming into this country, because the future is very uncertain.
Well, he did announce that. All right, Wesley, go ahead. You have any thoughts on this, and then I'll wax eloquent.
Yes, you will. No, nothing more to add. I think two things can be, not much more to add than what Ed said. Other than, I think two things can be true at the same time. I do think arresting Maduro was a part of the factor. I think, but to your point, I think the oil was probably the bigger part. But I think it's impressive that he's been able. I shouldn't even say Trump. The military has been able to do what they've done without taking any lives, and how swift they're able to do what they do
without losing any lives on our side.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why you're there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the reasons here. I'm not looking for credit.
No, that's right. Yeah.
I never look for credit.
But we haven't lost any lives on our end.
Yes, amen.
And we've been in and out.
Yeah.
It's been swift and quick. And I do agree. The biggest part that I agree with that on is that we are making our presence known in our hemisphere, and it's very effective.
Listen, a couple things here about this. There's so much related to this Venezuela story, and we're going to get into more of it and it's happening, in real time, and events are happening almost daily. It's impacting the world, quite frankly. We the United States military imposed an embargo. Is that what you call it, or a blockade, or both?
Yeah, sanctions, kind of a blockade. You're not allowed to.
What, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, or was it more than that, longer than that?
Well, our ships arrived off of Venezuela back 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah, but anyway,
It's a blockade.
the blockade went into effect, I want to say like 3 weeks ago. Okay, so I believe I'm correct on this. This particular one ship got through some way because they reflagged. Now, I'm not a maritime expert. Fred, you might know more about this than I do. But ships out on the open seas, it's very important what flag they're flying. Okay, that's a signal to everybody. What country is represented here with this commerce usually. So because we had an embargo on Venezuela, they replaced the Venezuelan flag with the Russian flag because the ship was ultimately going to Russia. Again, I hope I have my facts right on this, and I think I do. So when the ship reflagged, they did that so that the Americans wouldn't mess with the ship, right? Because if it's Venezuelan, we'll go in and we'll seize it. But if it's Russian, that requires a second thought, because would this provoke something worse and militarily a conflict with Russia if we seized a ship flying under their flag? So that's what happened. We waited till it got near Iceland, right?
Yep.
Well, you talk about a whiplash of weather. Yeah. We're going from Venezuela and sailing the pirates in the Caribbean, and next thing we know, here come these American stormtroopers
in the North Atlantic.
So anyway, do you know, Fred, yet has there been any response from Russia on this?
Not as of this moment.
Okay.
We did have reports earlier this morning that the Russians had sent one of their submarines out to escort the Marinera.
This is a hunt for Red October right here, buddy. This is getting good.
This is movie stuff. You're exactly right. This vessel was between Iceland and northern Scotland, and somewhere in there, our forces, which have been monitoring it, Coast Guard vessel, all that sort of thing, and they decided they weren't going to let this ship go any further, and they boarded it this morning.
I saw a little notice on the BBC here. We do get the news feeds from 4 major networks inside the studio while we're on the air. And the little crawler said that the UK helped the U.S. with the boarding this ship.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, listen, that's why I said there's all kinds of things going on underneath.
Moving parts.
Yeah, all kinds of moving parts. By the way, let me just kind of clarify something I'd said earlier, because Wesley makes a good point. I did not mean to imply that getting Maduro was not really part of what we did in Venezuela. It was all about getting Maduro because we don't want a communist country in Venezuela that has been cozying up to China and Russia
and Iran
and supplying oil to China.
Who have the largest oil reserves in the world.
And the United States just made, and the Trump administration just made a very practical, strategic decision. We're not having that in our hemisphere. Maduro's the problem. He's been indicted. We're going to use that as a pretext.
Right.
And say we're going to go get him. But I don't think it was really about the indictment. I think we want Venezuela to be returned to the Venezuelan people who are not going to choose communists.
Right.
So run them, and then the oil then becomes what our oil companies did in creating the infrastructure to make that oil accessible will now be back in business. So
In addition to the narco charges, he also has a late library card.
Yes, that's right.
There are 3 books that are missing.
He has videos that were due back at Blockbuster
Right,
20 years ago.
Years ago, so he's had this against him for this long. We
This
waited.
is the
That's right.
first time in today's issues that I've been on here where y'all have thrown back something in history that I actually can relate to,
Right.
which is Blockbuster.
Back to your good old days.
Blockbuster's right there. So anything
Yes.
beyond anything before Blockbuster y'all talk about, I'm out.
You're
I just sit here.
You
and
might as well
listen.
just scroll
I
the
go
internet.
get coffee. Yeah.
Who would
But
have
that's
ever
it,
thought
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster doesn't even exist anymore? Who would have ever thought it?
Well, who would have thought the DVDs used to go up, the red boxes?
Yeah, they're
Remember
gone
those?
too. They're gone too.
They were for about 3 to 5 years. They're
Yeah,
gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Go to afr.net or listen online or download our app and listen anywhere you go. AFR, American Family Radio. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred. By the way, the news that Maduro had been captured and extradited to the U.S. Was met with happiness and elation and jubilation all over Central and South America, right, Fred?
That is correct. Countries like Chile and others where many Venezuelans have fled because of the dictator Maduro are celebrating this.
Well, not only Venezuelans who fled, but other people, just natives of those countries in South America and Central America, realized what Ed was talking about, how Maduro had destabilized basically the region and was terrorizing people. And gangs, the gangs that were out of Venezuela were starting to spread. Yeah. And so he...
Trend to Aragua, I think.
So the polling that they're getting from these places, do you have that in front of you? Yeah.
I can pull it up.
Well, it was in the 70s and 80% in terms of approval.
Yeah.
In Latin America.
Yeah, yeah. So they are celebrating this decision by President Trump to go in and get Maduro out. All right, Fred, next story.
All right, next story. Greenland has another spot. President Trump in recent days has said once again he's interested in gaining control of Greenland for much the same reasons, concerns about Russia and China and their military threats to this country. And there's been even talk. President Trump sometimes says things, this is going to shock you, kind of comes off maybe as sounding something maybe he didn't mean. He said something yesterday about even using the military. Now that upset a lot of people to the point.
You mean to take the fishing village? Right? That is Greenland.
Yeah, or a little bit more. Anyway, Denmark, there's a headline this morning, Denmark and Greenland want a meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio to have a discussion about this. Now, Senator Lindsey Graham was asked about this. He was on Air Force One the other day with the president. He was asked about, where does he see the Greenland thing going? Here's what he had to say, cut number 14.
I'd like to build up the American presence in Greenland, economically and militarily. That would be beneficial to NATO. I got a call today from the Danish ambassador. This will be a work in progress.
That was Lindsey Graham?
That was Lindsey Graham, yes.
Why would the Danish ambassador call him?
I think they're worried.
Greenland is under Danish control.
Yeah.
Isn't it called the Kingdom?
Kingdom of Denmark.
Kingdom of Denmark.
I mean, it's got a democratic government, but it does still have a king.
Like a Disney movie, doesn't it?
Well, the Kingdom
of Denmark.
The Kingdom of Denmark. King Triton.
Well, I just say let it go. That's what I say about
it. Well, you could sing it if you wanted.
I will later. This is I think the reason I'm asking is the Denmark ambassador is calling Lindsey Graham a senior, member of the United States Senate and probably on the Armed Services Committee. I'm not sure, but is probably to say he's probably calling him to say, "What in the world is your president talking about here, taking over our country?"
Yeah.
Not our country, but
territory.
Our territory that we're a part of Denmark.
So Greenland, I mentioned earlier, the oil in Venezuela, Greenland. So I typed in a little search for this. This says Greenland possesses vast and largely untapped mineral resources, including rare earth elements. So this is incredibly important for computers and computer chips and chips and phones and all of that. And it lists a lot of those. One of them is called scandium. I've never heard of these. Neodymium.
Toothpaste.
Yeah.
That's right. Scandium is.
Which
Look on your ingredients on the toothpaste. See if you don't see.
See if you don't see scandium
on there.
You
Yeah,
get distracted quickly though as you begin to read them because you'll say, "Now, is that one on there too?"
it's very important. Very important mineral.
These are critical for electric vehicles, wind turbines, advanced electronics, and defense technologies. The island hosts some of the largest alkaline rock hosted rare earth elements deposits in the world. Okay, so that is something obviously of interest to the U.S. because China is a competitor when it comes to these rare earth minerals.
It is.
Yes, and then but
Go ahead.
yesterday too, Dad, in addition to that, Dad mentioned he read an article about the importance of the strategic military locations as well.
Because of the not only the closeness, proximity to Europe, but also to the Arctic region.
That's right.
Which is being contested by
also,
Russia.
they say if missiles come over from Russia,
yeah,
they're going to come right to the U.S. or Canada. They come over that. If they go there, they come over that.
That's right.
So I will hand it to President Trump. He is making every effort when he says "Make America Great Again." He is making every effort to ensure our future. You can debate about and argue again about the technical legality of what we did in Venezuela, but should the world come into a time of a lot of instability or even World War III, we will want to have resources close at hand to keep our economy functioning.
And this is not exactly just a, what do you call it when, grab and go situation with respect to Greenland. This isn't just, there are some legitimate claims to why we need a presence on that island. We'll talk about that when we get back from beyond what you've talked about.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Paul had some words for us in the book of Romans, for we shall all stand before the judgment seat of God. 4-year-old Allison Hahn complained to her parents one day that her stomach hurt. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Terry Hahn of Hornchurch, England, took Allison to the doctor for examination. Well, the doctor came back from making the x-ray of Allison's stomach and explained to Mr. and Mrs. Hahn why her stomach hurt. The doctor told the girl's parents that she had swallowed 28 beads, a dog's bone, 3 plastic toy bricks, a deflated balloon, a toy dog, 8 coins, some birdseed, sand, and leaves. You know, I would imagine that if you had all of that in your stomach, you'd have a stomach ache also. Now, the story about little Allison might startle us, or we might even find a touch of humor in it. But there's a higher truth which the incident brings to mind. We're created, you see, in a certain way. The organs of our body are made to perform certain duties. Put food in our stomach and we get energy to perform our work, to run our brain, build our body. But fill that same stomach with junk, beads, bones, toy bricks, deflated balloons, toy dogs, coins, birdseed, sand, and leaves, and you'll come up with a tummy ache. Can we now move to another step, just a little bit higher? Man has about his makeup another part. We call it his spirit. Nurture that spirit with love and devotion and dedication, and it'll grow and give us the energy to perform countless good deeds for ourselves, our fellow men, and our Creator. but fill that spiritual side of us with junk, booze, filthy reading, selfish greed, prejudice, indifference, hatred, jealousy, and you'll come up with a spirit that has a spiritual tummy ache. No man with average intelligence would dare feed a child of his, or even himself, such objects as beads or bones, toy bricks, coins, balloons, and the like. And yet the same man willingly offers his soul only a diet of filthy reading, profane speech, indifference, and all the other junk which will kill the soul. And the diet he offers to his children oftentimes is no better. Our lives can get so cluttered up with things that have no lasting significance that we lose sight of those things which are most important. Eternity. You know, few people think seriously of it anymore. The only thing important is the here and now. I can hear a few people saying, "Don't come around me with this carpenter bit, preacher. I have a house, a good car, a good job, money in the bank, booze in the cooler, and bets on the horses. So don't bug me, preacher. I have everything I need." Well, maybe you do have everything you need. Maybe you do not. I'll not argue the point. But how about tomorrow? When it comes, and it comes once to everybody, will you have everything you need? Eternity may seem like a long way off, but somehow it manages to get around to us, to all of us.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Matthew 19:14.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Today's Issues, the name of this program. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Fred here. Okay, fellas, so I'm seeing what's happening with the U.S. and Greenland.
Yeah.
You said, Ed, we were off the air and we were talking. I read it reports of 30 to 50,000 people.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's how many we have in Tupelo.
Exactly.
Okay.
Where our flagship station is.
Right. So my question is, well, I'm thinking ahead. I'm 63.
Yeah.
No, I'm 62 and a half. I'm going to be 63.
I know what you're going to say.
63 in March. I'm not a fan of cold weather at all.
Right.
Below 50, I start complaining. Huh? I shouldn't.
A lot.
I shouldn't. But I do it anyway. So when I get to heaven, I'm expecting 72 and clear. That isn't what I was going to say.
You really will get 72.
Yeah, that's right.
As opposed to the Muslims.
But we're looking out ahead here, and we all have to look out for our own retirement, right?
Yeah.
We need some money.
I know what you're saying.
So you follow me here?
I'm going to move right next door.
That's what I'm talking about. Ed and I, we're on to the same thing. Mm-hmm. We know that the United States of America is fixing to go over there and write $1 million checks to every one of those fishermen. Okay, we all know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that we can buy Greenland without having to send the Rangers in.
Or a 99-year lease.
That's right.
Yeah.
A 99-year lease.
That's very strategic. China's buying up cropland in the United States.
Yeah, so
that's true.
That's true, Wesley. So Ed and I, we get us a summer home.
Yes.
And
it'll be our primary residence
in Greenland.
So we'll call it.
And we'll wait for the U.S. government to come around with their $1 million check for us.
Yep.
How many people are thinking like that right now?
Because what Europe is saying and what the Kingdom of Denmark is saying is that Greenland's future should be determined by Greenlanders.
And it's about to be.
We'll open up the checkbook.
And the fishermen in Greenland are going to have to decide, do we want to continue to go out here and try to harpoon whales, or we just want to take the cash from
they can do that part-time. They can harpoon whales all they want.
They could do that.
They can club seals.
They could do it for recreation, not for survival.
Hey, did y'all know? Trivia question: that the majority of Greenlanders were just they came from North America. So I just want to say they're part Americans already anyway.
Well, yeah. I
didn't know that.
I thought they were European.
No,
So,
I'll find it here.
Probably Canadians over there, Fred.
Might be a
Canadians
few.
decided to go east. Go east, young man.
They follow the cod. Wherever the cod goes.
Gotta love that codfish. Good codfish sandwich.
All right, Wesley, you gonna?
There we go. Descendants. They're descendants who migrated from North.
Did you say migrated?
Migrated.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm interpreting.
Migrated. You want migrated?
People listening in
Migrated.
Michigan, so they could understand what you're saying. You're saying migration, right?
You can, yeah.
Go ahead and read it.
You
Go
want
ahead.
the shun on there?
No,
Migration.
I'm gonna be quiet. Read it however your dialect speaks to you. Go ahead, read it.
Descendants who these are the origins of the people that live there
in Greenland.
In Greenland are descendants who migrated from North America with some Norse settlers. Norse,
N-O-R-S-E. That's like Viking people.
Yeah.
Big
Am I right, Ed?
Big Vikings.
Yeah.
Around 1200 AD. So there you go.
Anyway. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. You're listening to today's issues. And joining us now is Sandy Rios, host of Sandy Rios 24/7 podcast, which is a very popular podcast here on our website. If you go to afr.net, you can download any of Sandy's shows. She does 2 times a week. Just a lot of excellent inside information you won't get anywhere else. You can find that on afr.net with Sandy Rios 24/7. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Tim and gang. How are you guys?
Good. Sandy, do you want to buy a home in the new neighborhood we're going to develop?
Absolutely. You know what? But could I give a sober response? See, what's happening, you guys, is this whole relates to the Monroe Doctrine, which I don't think people are familiar with. And the President I can't talk. I was just in a very long
You were going to
meeting,
give a sober response? Go ahead.
My brain has emptied itself of its contents in the last meeting. But no, President Monroe made this part of our foreign policy. And the reason he did, I think it was 1832, something like that, because it was European powers like France, Britain, Spain, all had designs on North America. They were still trying to do colonies. And so America at that time was concerned that we were vulnerable if any of these foreign entities from another hemisphere came in and started building bases and structures and building power bases in our hemisphere. And so it has been American law since that time that Americans have a right. We are the big dog in the Western Hemisphere, and that we have the right to go in and extract any group or nation group that's coming into our hemisphere and trying to do something dangerous. Now, with Greenland, China is very involved there. There's a lot of fishing. You probably heard this. A lot of fishing. There's waterways. That's what's involved there. And then, of course, you know, in Venezuela, the deep issue there is that we have Russia, we have China, we have Iran. All of our enemies are using Venezuela as a launching pad, taking the oil and using it to do all kinds of terrorism around the world and drugs for us. It's a mess. It should have been stopped a long time ago. So this is all, from my perspective, part of President Trump really reinserting the Monroe Doctrine to make us safer. Because as long as they can have a base and Chinese can travel in those waterways in Greenland and build up a military power up there, we are in much more danger. And so that's why this is happening.
Yeah.
And I kind of tongue in cheek, some people had started calling this now the Don Roe Doctrine.
Yes, that's right.
For Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Instead of Monroe, it was Don Roe.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this reminds me, although I was a mere infant at the time, I think. I don't know. When was the Cuban Missile Crisis?
62.
Okay.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
I was in my mama's belly.
Oh,
and at that time, but I know about that, the Bay of Pigs, what happened there. Well, that was separate from Bay of Pigs. Never mind, that was separate from the Cuban Missile Crisis. Am I right?
Yeah, so it gets
yeah, it's
confusing.
separate.
But there's
It's
two
se-
different. They're big
two
issues,
different-
but they're separate. Yeah.
But okay, but back to my point about the Russian missile crisis, which was the issue that John F. Kennedy had to deal with when he was in office, is the Russians were wanting to establish a beachhead, so to speak, in the Caribbean, or 90 miles from Florida, and with missiles.
Right.
And President Kennedy said, "No, you're not going to do that. Not in our neighborhood.
Right.
You're not going to set up missiles in Cuba." And so, that was a very tense moment in the history of our country. But to Kennedy's credit and to the Lord,
yeah,
we were able to avoid a nuclear confrontation there in that situation, or at least some kind of act of war. So, but that was really invoking the Monroe Doctrine as well, right?
Right. Well, yes,
right,
the whole
Sandy?
notion.
Go ahead.
Yes, the whole notion that we are not going to let some foreign entity from a different hemisphere come here and establish a stronghold, military and otherwise. We have the right, to control them, to kick them out, and that's why Venezuela. The other thing is just on China. China has. They've done so many things to expand their influence, but one of them is the Belt and Road Initiative. I'm sure you've heard of that. They've gone into Africa. They've practically swallowed up all of Africa with, promising to build roads and all of these things for the sake of presence and power. I have a friend that's from Zimbabwe, and she told me the Zimbabweans hate the Chinese because they have just virtually come in and they're sucking out the lifeblood in the economy of Zimbabwe. That's just one country. Well, they're doing the same thing in South America, and they were just getting ready to sign whatever you do with China to make an agreement with Venezuela to develop a Belt and Road Initiative in Venezuela. So that's one of the very important things that was happening that we had to stop.
Yeah, with respect to communist China and Africa, it isn't that Africa is a militarily strategic place to be. It's that the businessmen representing the communist Chinese government want access to all the, we've mentioned this before, and just talking about it with Greenland, the natural resources.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
And the minerals and all those things that are available. So the Chinese, very influential on the continent of Africa by, as you say, Sandy, promising to do things, and sometimes in the case doing things.
Yes.
To help the infrastructure or the people of Africa, because Africa is poor, and Africa is many ways a third world continent. So they're going there for those reasons. But yeah, so the Chinese are spreading, their tentacles are reaching around the globe right now. And I think with respect to Venezuela, President Trump said he hadn't. I don't think he's talked. Maybe he's talked about China here, but related again back to the Monroe Doctrine. President Trump came in and said the Panama Canal. You remember this?
Right.
The Panama Canal, which is essential to commerce of the United States. My goodness, I mean.
And Jimmy Carter sold it to China. Let Panama sell it to China.
Yeah, what an idiotic move that was. And you could argue treasonous in a way, but anyway, the ships would have to go around the tip of South America. So I mean, it's not, and not to mention, I think President Trump was more concerned too about our military,
right,
having access to the Panama Canal, right?
That's on his list.
Okay.
And I think you can look for Panama to be,
next.
Cuba and Panama may be next.
Okay.
To be picked off.
So let me just say this, and I'm not a military expert or a geopolitical expert, although I get confused for being one at times.
Yes.
When I'm out at dinner with people.
Yeah.
But let me just say this: when President Trump came in and he started talking about taking the Panama Canal, okay. I think we've all learned now with President Trump, his words are just, he just throws them out there, okay? That's just his personality. And sometimes he says things that you would go, you really, as president, shouldn't say that like that, okay? Or at least that's not always the way we've done it, or that's not going to be helpful. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So but then oftentimes we learn 6 months later or a year later, you go, now I see why he said what he said.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is with him, and his political instincts on these matters are,
and the team around him.
Yeah, on the team around him are very, very important. So when we heard him say, "Well, we're going to take the Panama Canal back," you're going, "What in the world? You're just going to go in there and take over the Panama Canal because you can?" That just sounds wrong, to most people. But then you go, "Wait a minute, he's talking about."
He's got a plan. There's a strategy. There's a reason.
He knows that that China's coming in, and they may take the Panama Canal themselves.
Right.
And then
they
what?
of course, they already had. And here's the thing.
They already had?
Tim, yes.
Okay.
I can't talk today. The Panamanians had turned over control of the Panama Canal to the Chinese. So that was already, and as I said, that happened during Jimmy Carter's time. So that was just horrible what he did. And so no one did anything about it. And so he's taking care of business. And one thing kind of funny, amusing to me, the Chinese, you don't know probably, but I know because I just did a show on this a couple of days ago. The Chinese have been selling military equipment to Venezuela. And guess how that worked last week? That military equipment that China sold to Venezuela.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
it didn't work well.
And then, the bodyguards for Maduro were Cuban.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Well, yes. The Cubans have been in Venezuela for years.
Yeah.
Boy,
they're advanced.
Now, let me try to make this clear and save my, long passages here. But when the Soviet Union fell, the Cubans kind of took over because the Russians had come down in South America and Central America. You remember all of those uprisings because the communists believed in taking over by military control, forcing their way into governments. But after Russia fell, they devised a new plan, and that was to take over through the democratic system. Maduro was one of the first in Central South America that did that. He was elected fairly way back when he was elected, but he immediately started, not Maduro.
Chavez. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Chavez did that. He got elected, and then he began to disband the Supreme Court, the legislative establishment. He began to take over businesses.
Persecute churches.
Yes, and then you couldn't get him out because he did away with the Constitution, but he was elected to the democratic system. And so that's what's been happening, Tim, and that came from Cuba. So, because Castro was one of the ones that devised that plan. So the Cubans came into Venezuela, I guess after Chavez. I'm not exactly sure when, but they've been there for years. And they have been the ones controlling the place. They've been the ones enforcing all of those horrible draconian things on the people of Venezuela, the persecution. That's been the Cubans.
Do you know whose stature has risen greatly in politics in the last few months?
Oh, please, Tim. I don't do this.
Well,
don't talk
I
about
think
me
you
like
need
this.
to stay where you are.
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't think you should run for anything. Okay, you're more valuable to us. Than you are. Being county commissioner, you don't need that. People calling you, telling their ditch is backed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me. You don't want that. Or I got to get these wild dogs out of my yard. Something like that.
You've been listening to my phone calls.
Or the alligators out of
in
the
Florida,
trees, right?
where Sandy lives, you get calls about hey, Commissioner, you got an alligator in my backyard. What are you going to do about it? Marco Rubio, the former senator from Florida.
That's true.
Florida, and the current Secretary of State, because, I know President Trump himself deserves the most credit for some of these big items that have taken place that benefited peace and stability in the world, like taking out the Iranian nuclear facilities.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Marco Rubio's stature has risen. Whatever that looks like in the future, I'm not sure. I've heard that he and Vice President Vance they've both set out they're buddies, they're tight friends in the administration, and they may end up running together next time around. Of course, we're a ways out from that. A couple of years.
3 more years of taking over, blowing up boats and taking over land.
Yeah. So anyway,
asking questions later.
That's right.
All right, Sandy. Well, what do you got coming up on your next podcast?
That's a good question. No, I do know. I just did a bunch of them. I got to remember what I just did.
Okay.
But the ones that just ran, interviewed Dr. Paul Coyer, who's an international expert, works for the Institute of World Politics. His wife is Venezuelan, and we talk about why Trump took out Maduro, and then, oh gosh, this one. There are absolutely stunning new revelations about excuse me just a second. Sorry, my voice is giving me trouble. There are stunning new revelations about the 2020 election and the fraud thereof. And there is a whole team that's been convened that you wouldn't have heard of, and I just heard of it because I know someone involved. I just got through with an hour-and-a-half briefing, further information on this. And what I can say is, you might recall that Tulsi Gabbard at a cabinet meeting, I believe the first one, said out of the blue, we are all over what happened with the voting machines in 2020. That's basically what she said. And so, excuse me, I can tell you that there are people that are pulling out all the stops. There are people who have turned evidence. This is going to go into the courts. There are people that were very involved in making this happen, this fraud, and they've been under protection now for the last year or so, and they're going to be testifying. And there's a whole lot more to the story. It's not time to break it, but let me just say it is. We did talk about it in my last podcast, Stunning Revelations on the 2020 election.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just commend that to people to
Well,
listen
as
to.
long as someone goes to prison, I'm tired of investigations and no one pays a price. You know, there was revelations out of Georgia about voting irregularities and outright fraud. I just want someone to go to prison.
Yeah, well, that's actually that is part of this effort. Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. There's all kinds of stuff breaking loose, and what's going to happen is they're going to have factual information. You know what the media always says. This is not really true, but they always say the courts heard this, and there was no real evidence. Well, that was never true. But now they're going deeper, and there's going to be real, indisputable testimony and evidence, and real documents to prove what many of us have thought for a long time.
All right, Sandy, take care. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, you guys.
Sandy, before you go, Tim and I will send you a brochure about the cul-de-sac we're going to be setting up.
That sounds like fun, actually.
In Greenland, on the coast of Greenland.
Again, the idea is sinister on our parts, but it will benefit us financially greatly if we go ahead, get our property set up in Greenland, and then we act shocked and surprised when the American government offers us to pay us a lot of money so that we become a territory.
Yeah, a vassal state.
And no longer, we don't have to worry about, as Fred said, fishing for cod, make a living. Okay? We'll just play the part of fishermen.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Sandy. Appreciate it.
All right. Good to talk to you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, if you want to listen to Sandy's twice-a-week podcast release, what do they need to do, Wesley?
Go to afr.net. That's afr.net. Click podcast, and there she has all of her program or all of her podcasts archived there.
You just scroll down.
Yep, scroll down.
Hey, I want to tell everybody to take time today to go to afr.net, because I was looking at it this morning. afr.net, that's our website. And then you have the podcast, which you can listen on demand. You just it's very easy to do. Don't be intimidated by the word podcast. It's very easy to do. And we have podcasts here from all our shows. And Sandy's show is very popular. Sandy Rios podcast. It's called Sandy Rios 24/7. All you do is go to afr.net and you can see it for yourself. And then I text Stephen McDowell, my friend at the Providence Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
He's the president of the Providence Foundation and the historian, and many people listening to us have been on our tours where Stephen provides commentary. And his podcast is getting like 20, I think in December, had 23,000 downloads, which for...
Who was this?
For relatively
I was one of the
podcast.
20.
Yeah. Stephen McDowell's.
Oh, okay.
It's the America's Providential History Podcast.
I see it right here.
And if you go there and click on there, you'll see he's got shows running back from, let's see.
He did a really good Christmas series leading up to Christmas Day.
Yeah, where's the history of the podcast, though? I'm looking
Scroll down.
there. No. If I go on afr.net.
Click here.
Okay, click on that.
Click on it and scroll down, and that's how you pick the topic that you...
Okay, mine's not showing that, so.
Well, just click on it. Okay.
Oh, it's because you've already clicked on it.
Okay.
So if you were to go back now, you'd say...
Pardon us, folks. Talk amongst yourselves while
That's
we
right.
fool around on the internet here for a minute.
What
am I supposed to do here
All
now?
right, click on that.
All right.
All right, now scroll down.
Wow,
Keep
Dad.
going. Keep. Oh no, Tim's right.
Yeah.
It's not showing it. It's showing up on mine.
I'm telling you, the Chinese have bugged my computer. People don't believe me.
Yeah.
But it's
Show him what you're looking at.
I see what he's looking at, but it's not on mine.
It's not on his.
Maybe we got different browsers.
No, I meant show him what you're looking at so you can continue describing what you were trying to do.
So,
okay. Well,
yeah. So there's a list. January 6th, America's Decline and What to Do About It, Part 1. Obviously, that's going to continue. December 30th, Christ's Ever Increasing Kingdom, Part 4.
These are the ones I listened to.
Part 2, 3, 4, all of
anyway,
them.
there's some great podcasts there on our website, afr.net. I was just recommending two there, Sandy Rios 24/7, and then Stephen McDowell's America's Providential History. The only place you can get that is right here on afr.net.
You got Frank Turek, you got Jenna Ellis. You've got Trivia Friday.
Friday, we archive those shows, the podcast those shows. Today's Issues, which is the #1 downloaded podcast show on AFR.
Maybe in the world, we don't know. We
don't know, but and again,
maybe
it sounds like we're bragging,
right?
But they say that if you can do it, it's not bragging.
Is that right?
Have you ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. We will take a short time out for Fred. Sorry you couldn't speak any more than you did, but
that's okay.
Happy cod fishing.
Yeah,
Fred.
that's right.
We'll be back.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Their investment is only for Donald Trump. It's not for the Republican Party. And I think this is another thing that we as conservatives have failed to do during the entire arc of the Trump era is actually take the Trump voters and convert them into genuine conservatives.
Start your weekdays with insight from Jenna Ellis in the morning, 7 o'clock Central Time on American Family Radio.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. The House Oversight Committee holding a hearing on Capitol Hill that will look into alleged fraud schemes in Minnesota. Federal prosecutors have charged multiple people with stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from state-run social service programs. Committee Chair James Comer of Kentucky accusing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and other state leaders of being asleep at the wheel.
The breadth and depth of this fraud is breathtaking, and I fear that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Fraudsters like these take millions to enrich themselves while providing nothing, overstating or outright faking the services.
Minnesota Democrat Governor Tim Walz is defending his state's handling of the investigation into social services fraud. Alexis McAdams has more from Minneapolis.
Now they're looking at the state's Attorney General, Keith Ellison. Why? Because the state's top cop here in Minnesota was caught in an audio recording behind closed doors meeting with a group of soon-to-be convicted Somali fraudsters. They were asking the Attorney General for help to get more funding. And also this group was talking about supporting his campaign. So Keith Ellison is pushing back on this. He said that he takes fraud seriously. He shared in an op-ed writing this: I took a meeting in good faith with people I didn't know, and some turned out to have done some bad things. I did nothing for them, and I took nothing from them.
The White House announcing this week President Trump is considering all options in taking the territory of Greenland from Denmark, including military force. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president believes doing so will deter American enemies away from the Arctic region, adding he believes it's a national security threat. Leaders from around the world have condemned the rhetoric, warning that Greenland alone will determine its future. Florida Senator Rick Scott emphasizing he believes there is some merit to having a stronger American presence in the region.
Here's a president that cares about this country. He is focused on America. He's focused on the safety of Americans. And so his belief is this is going to help the safety of Americans. Now, a safe America is actually good for all democracies around the world. It makes us stronger.
The White House says a meeting between oil executives and President Trump will happen on Friday. Edward Lawrence has more from the White House.
The president left most of the Maduro establishment in place in Venezuela, which might be why he's reassuring Americans and Venezuelans that the oil proceeds will go to rebuild Venezuela. Now, the president, in a post on Truth Social, says that the U.S. will get 30 to 50 million barrels of oil turned over. The president says that he will sell it at market prices, which could fetch as much as $3 billion. The president adds that that money will be controlled by me as president of the United States of America to ensure that it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States. He directed the Energy Secretary to execute the plan immediately.
On-duty law enforcement deaths dropped by 25% in 2025 compared with 2024, according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. But Steve Jordahl reports the good news has an asterisk.
In 2025, there were 98 law enforcement officers who died in the line of duty. That's down from 196 in 2024, according to the Officer Down Memorial page. Randy Sutton, author of Rescuing 911, says that's really good news.
Is it good news that less officers were killed? That's 100% absolutely yes.
But he says the anti-law enforcement sentiment in some cities has not diminished. Officers are still subject to extreme violence just for putting on the uniform.
347 officers were shot in the line of duty, and 22 of them, of the 45 officers who were killed, were ambushed.
He also says years of defund the police abuse has left many agencies severely short-handed.
You have cities that are down, sometimes 25% of their force. Less cops, less injuries.
Sutton also says fewer officers means less proactive policing, visiting neighborhoods, working with kids in the community, and the like.
The depolicing that's taken place has diminished the proactive policing, which often leads to other injuries.
The lack of officers also means serious police work is not getting done.
It also means less crime being solved and less individuals being taken into custody who were committing crimes.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello, everyone. Tim Wildmon here. We've got some great tours lined up for 2026. Washington, D.C., George Washington's Mount Vernon, Colonial Williamsburg, historic Jamestown, Boston, Massachusetts, and that greater area. So much to see and do in 2026. If you want information on any of these trips, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we'll see you on one of our tours in 2026.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Welcome back to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. We got 24 and a half more minutes of news, information, and education coming your way. I'm Tim with Ed and Wesley. You don't really need our last names, do you? And now Steve Paisley Jordahl.
I guess you do need my last name.
I got you need to be formally introduced.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, everybody.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
So you're are you still a Raiders fan since they moved?
I am still
Okay.
a Raider. It's kind of like a bad marriage. You kind of want to get out of it, but you really can't.
That's like my hockey team, the Boston Bruins, having a pretty mediocre season.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were the Oakland Raiders, then they were the LA Raiders, and then they were
The
Oakland
Oakland
Raiders,
Raiders.
and now they're the Las Vegas Raiders.
That's right.
And with the exception of about 3 years in the 70s, it's all been pretty much miserable.
No, they actually, from the 60s on through the 80s, they were the winningest franchise in all of football by a ton.
And then you became a fan?
No, I was a fan in the 70s.
I'm just kidding.
I remember I got to see George Blanda play
number 50.
kick a field goal.
Was he number 50?
I don't remember what his number was.
I think
he was 50 years old, maybe.
Yeah,
50 years old.
He was.
Anyway, I don't know how that came up, except that they may get the first round draft pick.
They will get the first. I believe
first draft pick of the draft.
For the first draft pick, which means I guess it's Indiana's quarterback that they're.
I hear they're going for Maduro.
Well, he is on.
Well, he's available now, and he's like 6'4".
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I'm saying? And people still think he's got some good years left in him.
Do you know?
In his right arm.
I've been reading on social media, mostly on X, but they showed Maduro, what is it called, being frog marched or whatever, with
perp walked.
The perp walk with the handcuffs on, and the jumpsuit or whatever. But I've read several people where they said they should have made him put on a "Make America Great" hat while he was being walked.
That would have been the best.
Well, you can now with AI, you can generate that. If you want to.
That's true.
I mean,
I'm not in favor of absolutely humiliating people, but that would have been funny.
You know the judge
humor over everything.
The judge overseeing the Maduro case and his wife, is 92.
Yeah, and he's supposedly a tough customer.
Yeah,
in terms of
92 years old, and he's still a federal judge. So there's that. When you say lifetime appointment, he took it seriously.
Yeah.
Huh? He took it seriously. Okay, Steve, what's your first story?
All right. Unfortunately, Congressman Doug LaMalfa from California has passed away.
Not familiar with him.
I have actually met him.
Okay.
He was at one of Brad Dacus's celebration of justice
Pacific Justice Institute.
Yep, and he
Republican from California.
Yes, Republican from California. Nice guy, but he passed away, and this puts the House. Republicans now have a 218 to 217 vote majority, a 1-vote majority, and if you thought Speaker Johnson had a hard job before. I was on the phone with Gary Bauer this morning talking a little bit about this, and he's a little bit worried too. Cut whatever it is. Do I have the number?
We're now down to levels where just the vagaries of life can make a difference. We're in the winter. Another older member, a Republican member of Congress, could get the flu or some other medical problem. So it's really very close to being in the situation where the Republicans could lose the House before there's another election.
Yeah, because you miss 2 votes, like he's talking about. I didn't appreciate him, always talking about the old people. What if an old person gets sick? But old people do. Old people like me, I guess, do get
I think
sick
we all
a little
had
more
you in
frequently.
mind.
And you just have 2 of those out.
Yeah. And the flu's going around.
Then you could lose a vote. Or if you have 1 more or 2 more either pass away or resign, we've had a pretty unusual number of members of Congress resign, not even wait for the next election, then you could flip the House to the Democrats.
So what would have to happen is they'd have to have a motion to vacate the chair. Now, I talked with a couple. I talked with actually one constitutional expert who wasn't quite sure. I kind of sprung this on him. He didn't do the research. He wasn't sure. But what we do know is that any member can call a motion to vacate the chair at any time. And what I don't know, and so I'm not a constitutional lawyer, nor do I play one on TV. What if we have a couple people out, Republicans out, and the Democrats happen to be in a majority that day on the floor? Could they call a motion to vacate the chair, put Keith Ellison in, and all of a sudden? I don't know.
Well, I just looked this up. Well, I was listening to what you were saying, Steve. But as of early December 2025, 4 House Republicans, 4 of them, this is why this margin has shrunk so dramatically. 4 House Republicans had chosen to resign from Congress. Additionally, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Georgia Congresswoman, announced her resignation effective January 5th.
That's yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah. So in total, by December 2nd, 2025, 44 lawmakers had announced plans to leave the House or already done so, with Republican departures outpacing Democrats by nearly 2-1.
And you have a Republican president who was establishing his cabinet and pulled a couple members, now all from safe districts. But I tell you, again, be praying for our Speaker of the House because, man, he's got a tough job right now. Herding cats is easy.
218 to 217. That's, wow. I mean, this tied, a virtual tie there between Democrats and Republicans in the House of Representatives. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on AFR. Tim, Ed, Wesley, and Steve. Go ahead, Steve. Next story.
All right.
Is it flu season, Steve?
It is the flu season.
You got that story?
I don't.
Well,
but I can pull it up.
I'm a flu denier.
You're a flu denier? Well, my house is a house divided. My wife gets the flu shot every year. I don't. The flu shot always makes me sick, so I just stopped doing it. And this flu that is going around, they
call it the super flu.
Super flu. It is not covered by the flu vaccine or the flu shot.
It will be next year.
But in all seriousness, the flu we have it almost every year. But we're in mid-season form, so to speak, for the what they call the super flu, and it's spreading all over the land. The super flu.
Between sea and sun.
Almost
pretty bad. Yeah.
Almost 20 states are in the highest possible tier for influenza activity, according to the CDC.
Is Mississippi in that?
No. They're
okay,
low.
then I would ask people to stay out. Okay, if you're from another state where the super flu is going wild, what you need to do is
what makes it a super flu?
I believe Georgia is. Alabama, I think is, but I don't.
Okay,
I'm trying to find the map here.
Anyway, it's flu. It is
super
what
flu.
What makes a super flu go away?
A super flu. Let me just wax medically eloquent here.
Please do that.
A super flu is something that is especially contagious and has harsher symptoms. It's more difficult to get rid of, but I think it has especially to do with how contagious it is, because that makes it spread more quickly. And this one is apparently, there's a couple of young people, I think, that have died from it, which is unusual.
This map that you've showed me, Steve, which people can't see on the radio, which has
we're surrounded
where the highest levels of the super flu are. Okay, Alabama, Tennessee, and Louisiana all. Look at that.
And Arkansas.
And Arkansas higher, not the highest, but higher than us.
Mississippi thus far has escaped this designation.
Yes.
So I'm saying, do we seal off our borders?
I think yes, and require everyone coming in to wear masks.
Yeah, so I would say if you're going to go if you're going from Baton Rouge to Atlanta, you're going to have to go through Nashville. That's what we're telling you.
That's right.
Okay.
Stay away from us, or get on a Venezuelan boat and get over there to Florida.
All right. So anyway, the reason I don't get the flu, and admittedly this is not scientific, and it's laughable.
You have a lap dog?
But we all have those idiosyncrasies, don't we?
Sure.
Have a lap dog? What?
Yeah, you said why.
The reason I don't
guess. It's a reasonable guess.
The reason I don't get the flu shot, and I probably shouldn't even admit this, but
You've already gone down the road.
I told the doctor, and he didn't push it on me, but you know how they tell you what's available when you go for your annual.
Yes.
These shots are available. Do you want them? It's because if they rename it, I'll consider it. I'm not getting anything that tells me it's a shot that I'm getting the virus. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. If they call it the "don't get the flu shot."
Oh, got it.
then I will consider it.
Can't you make that adjustment in your own brain?
I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who I thought could help me with this.
Yeah.
But you call it a flu shot? I'm thinking you're injecting something. You're injecting something into me that's going to cause me to get the flu. Now, don't email me or call me or write me because I know that's silly. Okay, but I just.
You want me to say something even sillier?
I'm not going to. I don't want to process that, right? And I haven't got the flu, but like 2 times in 10 years.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I haven't gotten the flu in a long time myself. Okay, and I don't know what I attribute that to. Maybe the fact that I put a lot of garlic in my food, like any normal Italian would.
And you know vampires, too.
Yeah, and so I want to say something even sillier than what you were saying. I'm not saying what you said was
it's
silly.
a silly hour
but you
here.
said, yes, is if you say, here, I want you to take this gummy, and it will keep you from getting the flu, I'm all over that. But if you put it in a needle, I'm going, is this going to save my life?
Right.
Or is it optional?
Right.
And if you say, well, it's optional, okay, then I'm not taking the needle.
Because it's an injection into your bloodstream.
No, I don't like needles.
It's needle phobia.
Listen, you're going to stick me. When we used to take our kids when they were little to get shots, I could not do that. My wife either had to do it, or if I went to help, I would have to turn away. I can't even watch someone.
And there's always the possibility that the gummy's actually marijuana. So, it's a win-win there. So.
I don't care what's in it. I love gummy bears.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't afraid of having too much vitamin C, I would eat a whole container of vitamin C gummy bears because they just taste good.
This is the truth.
Speak the truth, Steve.
We used to offer flu shots here at the ministry. They used to.
Well, we used to bring medical professionals in.
No, we would hold people down and force it.
That's right.
Because I was part of the hosing down
That's
crew.
right.
Yeah.
You're strong.
Yeah.
I took flu shots up and until COVID.
Yeah. Me too.
And since COVID, I have not wanted
Why not?
another
What does that
vaccine.
have to do with? What does one thing have to do with it? What about you, Wesley?
I'm not
How
doing
much have
this.
you pumped
I'm
in your
not doing
veins?
this topic. I'm listening. I know
Yeah.
better. I will
This
take
will
up the
trick-
next 9 minutes we got.
This subject will trigger Wesley.
Yeah. This is part of my New Year's resolution of self-control.
Okay.
And being a better listener.
Being a listener.
That's what
Okay.
I'm going to do here.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Steve. Tell us the rest of
No,
this.
that's the story. Since COVID, and the research I've done on the COVID quote unquote vaccine.
Yeah.
I haven't yet to take any vaccine. I have not gotten a flu vaccine for some reason. In my mind, there's this mental thing that I might be getting some kind of a spike protein or something like that.
CDC just recently, didn't they? They came out with an announcement that it's probably the most conservative post or
They
announcement.
they changed the
childhood schedule
for vaccines, right? They reduced them down to like 11 or something like that.
Yeah, so they're making they're being progressive. They're making progress.
Yes, good point. Next story, Steve.
All right. Tim Walz, we have announced the other day, has decided not to run for a third term.
In Minnesota.
In Minnesota. The governor of Minnesota is
disappointing.
Well, and people were kind of
This is hilarious.
kind of questioning why.
Yeah.
And he's being very upfront and open as in all his dealings. He
always
is. And I wanted to let you listen to the end of one of his press conferences. The first press conference since he announced he was leaving Cut 6.
Tomorrow, I'll be back with you. I'll give you an update on America's best paid family medical leave program that is now a week into it. And at that time, I'll take all your questions. Thank you all.
And he's out. He didn't take a single question.
Probably have the flu tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me just say that I don't know how exactly to say this without sounding like I'm pro-leftist. I'm not. And don't get me wrong, Governor Tim Walz, he holds to horrifying views, in my opinion, with abortion and all that. But he does strike me as being an honest person. I would not be surprised to see him resign, simply because, and he has said that the buck stops with me.
We have that cut.
Okay, let's hear that cut.
So this would, I'm looking for the number here. This would be cut 7.
We'll make sure that in this state there's full accountability for everybody, because I buck stops with me. I'm accountable for this, and because of that accountability, I'm not running for office again. I'm not going anywhere. And you can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Will that happen? I will fight this thing till the very end to make this state better. And expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never been ridden, to make sure that you're doing your job.
No, what are you talking about?
I don't know who he's talking to there.
What do you do with the fact that he's known about this and there's been whistleblowers since 2015 and he's known about it?
Well, okay.
What do you do about that?
Yeah,
Can I tell people what the issue is here?
Yeah, sure.
Who don't know, maybe are new listeners.
Yeah.
The issue that's at hand that we're discussing and hearing from the sitting governor of the state of Minnesota, the feds have come in to Minnesota and found the Somali population there doing massive fraud on such things as daycare centers where they apply for federal grants. They get money from the state government, including the governor's office, administers the federal tax dollars to give billions to give to these daycare centers and so forth and so on. And it's been phony. There's been daycare centers that don't have any kids in there, but the people that are applying for grants, which are getting them, are in cahoots together. And the federal government's come in, the U.S. attorney, they busted them, they've indicted them, they've convicted a lot of them now, I read, 50 of them. And this, so this is all on the watch of Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. And so he's decided he's not going to run for a third term in office because of that's what he just said right here. He said the buck stops with him. I don't know if he'll get in any legal trouble or not, but this has just been uncovered, and so that's what the issue is he's talking about here.
Now, I haven't seen any evidence that indicates that the governor knew the fraud was going on. Have you? Have you guys?
Oh, Ed, you have such a good heart. You really do.
I think he was certainly in favor of Somali-led agencies getting money, but in terms, you think the governor of Minnesota knew this money was going to terrorist organizations?
Well, maybe not that, but I think he would turn a blind eye because because I think he would turn a blind eye because Democrats depend on the Somali vote in the state because they vote as a bloc for Democrats, and so. But by the way, did you guys see? I sent this story around. The woman who became a multimillionaire because of this fraud.
She's 44 years old. She's before a judge, and he has taken all her assets away that she got illegally. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
she had her vehicle.
Wesley, tell us about it. Do you have that story?
What kind of vehicle? It was a Ford Pinto, wasn't it?
Yeah. Wesley, read the first couple paragraphs in Southern English.
Southern. All right, I'm pulling it up.
Do that? Can you pretend that?
I'm with you, Wesley.
Yeah,
go ahead. You be you, man.
Yeah, you be you.
I don't.
Do you have the story or not?
I do, but it's going to take me 10 seconds to pull it up. Can you talk?
I got it.
Go ahead.
Talk about yourself.
Give us a little New England Mississippi hybrid.
A ringleader of the 250 million Minnesota
welfare
fraud.
This is a serious story.
Okay, I'll do it serious.
Do it serious. So you're about to read from this story. This is where did we get this? A Newsweek, right?
This is Daily Mail.
Daily Mail. Go ahead.
One. A ringleader of the $250 million Minnesota welfare fraud scandal has been ordered to forfeit her Porsche, diamond jewelry, Louis Vuitton, I guess, bags, and millions of dollars in bank accounts. This is Amy Bach, 44, who prosecutors declared was behind one of the biggest fraud schemes of the pandemic era.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the more than 57 people so far convicted in the case are part of Minnesota's Somali community. Bach is not. She's as white as anybody up there in Minnesota. And the case has exploded onto the national stage.
You know, we don't often get a view behind the curtain, but somebody snuck a recording device into Attorney General Keith Ellison's office. This is Minnesota's Attorney General, and he was meeting with the Somali delegation. And listen to them try to strong-arm him. Cut 2.
The only way we can protect what we have is by inserting ourselves into the political arena, putting our votes where it needs to be, but most importantly, putting our dollars in the right place and supporting candidates that will fight to protect our interests.
That's right.
You can only protect our interests when we have your back, and you don't have to worry about who's behind you.
So.
Boy, imagine that politics. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's a philosophy. It's not a... but that's
pretty much what every interest group does.
By the way, you did catch my attention when you read that story about this woman in Minnesota that's the judge has said you got to give all your ill-gained profits back from this fraud. And again, she is a white lady. She's not Somali. I don't know how she got connected with all this. She doesn't obviously, well, I wouldn't doubt, I wouldn't suspect she lived in the Somali community up there in Minneapolis.
There's white greed too.
Yeah.
Well, it says in a preliminary court order.
But I want to draw attention for just a minute to what the judge says she has to give back or give up that she got. Go ahead, read that.
Okay, Bach was ordered to forfeit more than $3.5 million seized from a Bank of America account.
Wow.
In the name of her nonprofit, Feeding Our Future. She should have just named it Feeding My Future. Along with $179,000 in a personal account. She was ordered to give up her Porsche Panamera. Never heard of it. That's how far away I am from owning a Porsche. Around 60 laptops, iPads and iPhones found at three addresses, along with a diamond necklace, bracelet, earrings, and her Louis Vuitton purse and backpack.
Okay, that's your Louis. I'll bet she'll try to keep her Louis Vuitton purse.
In prison?
And if it's a woman judge, she may be lenient.
On that.
That I can understand.
You know,
but she was found guilty in March.
So my wife the other day was looking for me a birthday present.
Yeah.
For March.
Looking for me a birthday present. Wesley, he has no room to talk about your accent.
Right. That's right. What was it I said?
Looking for me a...
Oh, did I say looking for me?
Yeah, looking for me a birthday
all right.
present.
So anyway, Allison goes on. She goes on the internet. I said, I probably need a new golf bag, right? I've had this for several years and it's worn out. She goes on looking the internet for a golf bag and runs across a Louis Vuitton.
Oh my goodness!
You know how much this thing cost? And this was serious, $28,000.
What?
Yes. Look it up, Louis Vuitton.
She get it?
Get it. No clubs.
No, I put it on a payment.
Layaway.
I can pay $100 a month for the rest of my life and get my golf bag paid off.
$28,000.
I'm just kidding, people. I didn't order a Louis Vuitton golf bag. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Wildmon, and I hope you're looking forward